I am Jess Pye. I am the Her Game 2 ambassador for Norwich City, and I am a football fan. My favourite memory in football has got to be the Norwich versus Man City, the 3-2 win that we had. There was a real sense of togetherness in and around the ground and among the fans. There was a feeling that there's something kind of really special going on. I'll also say with the women's team, there's been plenty of good memories with those recently. The FA Cup win when we dug deep, we were resilient against #United. It was a brilliant moment, and again, it's come from a sense of real kind of togetherness in and among the fans. I'd say things have changed in that there's definitely been kind of more of a level of inclusion, and there's been, of course, we've thankfully got to the stage where some players have obviously been happy coming out as such. Obviously, I think of Josh Cavallo, Jake Daniels, Jakob Jankto as examples, and obviously we've kind of got to that stage where there are players who are obviously feeling confident enough to come out, and that is a brilliant step in terms of the last 10 years or so. If you'd have asked that way back then, there wouldn't have been even a thought of a player coming out as such. And while it's still daunting, it's definitely become something that is obviously less challenging, if you like. It's definitely important to get that message of inclusion all the way through the year, because obviously LGBTQ plus people just don't go away for most of the rest of the year as such. We are obviously here all year round, and we are obviously just wanting to be included just like the rest of the population as such. So we don't disappear. There's never that element of us going away. I'd say I do kind of think that we're obviously still a way off in terms of some games, let's say some environments, but there is generally, I think, at lower levels, a bit more of an ability to kind of be together in terms of who you're watching with, the fan base and that side of things. But I feel like the actual game itself, the on pitch, possibly still got a fair way to come, especially when we do see obviously incidents week in, week out, as always. I think as a spectator, when you're alongside like-minded people on the sideline, that side of things I do think is great. But in terms of change, I'd definitely like to see kind of a bit more of an inclusive kind of environment on the field. There's still definitely at grassroots level that kind of a stigma in the back of the mind of some players, and there's definitely the ability for them to use that as a weapon as such. Any sort of involvement in the LGBTQ plus community can unfortunately always be weaponised by people at lower levels, and it's something that really needs to be kind of controlled on field. I think it's massively important in the professional game, obviously, especially because that's of course where you're going to get the most visibility. And again, in terms of footballers coming out, that was the big area where people obviously will feel a bit more comfortable in among themselves if they're in a footballing environment. But obviously at grassroots level, again, visibility is always going to be key to try and really get across the message that being part of the LGBTQ plus community isn't odd, it isn't abnormal, it's just something that obviously can be accepted like everyone else. At the end of the day, we are all, we're all in here for one thing, as obviously the football, and trying to of course get positive results, things like that. But yes, let's say it's important at all levels, definitely.